Want free plays and insider special deals? Just text WagerTalk to 33222 and get a $10 coupon for signing up.
And sportsmemo.com. I'm joined by Dave Cokin and, of course, Mr. Carmine Bianco. We'll have a great show ready for you guys today. We have a couple games to talk about, including the Ducks and the Sharks, the Panthers and the Lightning, the Oilers and the Jets, the Hurricanes, the Blue Jackets, and the Senators taking on the Leafs. And what seems to be a funny rivalry there. Dave, I'll throw it to you, man. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Coming off a 1-1 Sunday. Easy college basketball winner and lost my NHL play. It's been back and forth for me lately. I'm not losing anything. I'm not winning anything, basically. So hopefully we'll get a hot streak going. And that's all you can do is keep firing, right?
Absolutely. You know, I was riding a 7-0 Australian Open run. And, of course, I released a 5% play. Absolutely great match, and then the lady I bet on just fell apart in the third set. So the run is now 7-1, but felt bad for those of you guys that hopped aboard that 5%. But Australian Open is still in full swing. NHL is going pretty good. It was a little bit of a drop off for me last week, but still looking pretty good. Carm, how you doing?
Doing good. This is a busy week for me. As you know, Champions League and Europa League start in earnest. That tournament, they're in the playoff stages, and there's just a ton of plays and soccer shows and a wager talk today. I'll be on after puck time there, and I'll be giving out a free play in Champions League there. NHL, the struggle is it's been an up and down NHL. You have a good run where you go 3-1 on a Friday, and then you have a Saturday where you just literally are on the wrong side of everything. And then to boot, my iPhone 11, I just smashed it. It wasn't losing related. I just dropped it the wrong way. And it's like $300 to get that thing replaced. So we'll need some winners today, Andrew.
Well, without further ado, let's do it. And a quick thank you to all of you guys that took part and grabbed some packages for Customer Appreciation Week. And it is $9 Monday, so the plays remain for today at $9. Our first game we are going to discuss is our face-off, Dave, the Sharks, as they take on the Ducks. What are your thoughts on that game, Dave?
Actually, it's my only play tonight as of now, so I'm going to stay out of this one. I do have a bet on this game, and it's available right now for $9 at WagerTalk because it's $9 Monday, and I think it's got a good chance to cash, so we'll leave it at that.
Definitely. Good stuff there from Dave. Okay, Dave will find that at WagerTalk.com. Any customers want his opinion on it, you got to go grab it from him. Carm, your thoughts?
I am going to give you my opinion on this game. This will actually be, spoiler alert, my show best bet at the end. And we did get there with Tampa on Saturday. If you guys played that Tampa Bay game, you got plus 165 on that, minus 1.5. They bounced back. We're going to talk about that game shortly, I think. Listen, there was a bad spot for the Sharks playing their first game at home on the weekend. They started with 12 straight on the road and come home, and I know it's all West Coast stuff, but have to play a Vegas team who's playing extremely well right now. All three of those goals, power play goals, and you can't give the Vegas Golden Knights power plays and expect to win games. As far as the Ducks go, we know what we're getting from the Ducks. They're playing extremely well defensively, and you've got a Gibson in net. Listen, 5-4-3 is this guy's record, which you wouldn't think is that great. And then you look 2.26 goals against average, 0.923 save percentage. I haven't seen listed goalies as of yet, nothing confirmed, but I would have to believe that he's going to be in net tonight. If he's not, it's better for the Sharks. But we've seen it a lot, sort of these long road trips, and these aren't road trips of years past where you're going East Coast, West Coast. Everything is up and down, sort of that West Coast. So it's not true road trips, but still, it's the familiarity of being at home. And that first one at home is a tough one. I usually fade a team in that first game at home and then take them in the second game at home, and that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take the Sharks at a very short price at minus 115, Andrew.
Yeah, I find it so weird with this Anaheim Ducks team, and I'm kind of leaning towards a different direction than you, Carm. But it's so funny because if you look at the standings here and the history for this team, any time that their opposition has scored pretty much 3 or 4 or 5 goals, it's over. I mean, if you score at least 3 goals on the Anaheim Ducks, there's a pretty good chance you're going to win. I mean, they have made it very clear for years now. Their strategy is to play very tight checking defense, protect their own end, and capitalize on chances they can. I mean, Carm, I had the team total under 2.5 for the Ducks against the Knights, and they won the game. But they still covered that team total under. It's unbelievable. If you look at the game that they beat the Sharks in, they won 2-1. The game they lost 5-4. So they're getting exposed in these track meet style games. So John Gibson, like you mentioned, he's been so great, and he can't just continue to steal the show every single night. So I do believe if the offense picks it up for San Jose, it's going to be trouble. But I feel like I'm feeling good about myself right now. If I'm Anaheim, I'm off that win against the Golden Knights. They didn't let them get any goals. They're feeling good now to come against the San Jose team that's pretty much been consistently inconsistent with their goal scoring. So I lean towards the better defensive team they're finding a way to win. So I'm looking towards the Ducks, but nothing too strong for me on that. Carmine likes the Sharks. And Dave, well, Dave can break the tie here. You can grab his play over at WagerTalk.com, guys. Our next play up here, the marquee matchup. Carmine mentioned it, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. Well, Carm, I remember you know how much I liked the Lightning in the first game. And then on our Friday show, we discussed the revenge. You and I both liked that revenge spot for the Lightning. They did what they had to do. And this is just getting weird, guys. I mean, we talked about it for so long, but there's so many back-to-backs. Like, look at the Arizona and St. Louis. It's crazy. We're seeing these teams play like 7-game series almost. What are your thoughts here as we head into yet another game here, Karin, between these two teams?
Yeah, in all honesty, I don't see how. I talked about that first game, and I did say that that the Florida team at the time were in second place, and they're a very good team, a team that can score, and those are the kind of teams, especially in these somewhat, that's a Florida rivalry. It's I did mention it's not the same as like a Leafs and Habs series, but if there's a team that could beat Tampa, compete with them, it was that Florida, and they did, and they beat them 5-2. And I expected Tampa to come back. That that wasn't a game by Tampa in losing 5-2. But what it did show to Tampa, and they don't need a kick in the ass. This is a very good team. But what it did teach that Tampa team is you can't take a shift off against a team like a Florida. You can't take shifts off against teams that can score, because you can find yourself down 1 or 2. And this is what happened to them. They came back and they played an absolutely great game in that 6-1 win, which I thought they would. And I can't see why you don't come back with Tampa again to win again. Sometimes it's you go through a spurt of you where you win 6 or 7 in a row and you lose one, and it just reignites you, and maybe that reignited the team again. I'd come back with Tampa Bay again and lay the goal and a half here. You're getting plus 135 on them, or you can sort of split your wager and take Tampa on the money line at minus 170 if you're playing like 4%, 2% on that, and 2% on the puck line, and you lower that to a -1 type bet.
Yeah, Dave, I couldn't agree more with what Carm is saying about sometimes you just need a little bit of a hit to the chin to wake up a little bit, rejuvenate. And it's kind of what happened to Tampa Bay, because they went 10 games without allowing 2 or more goals, or more than 2 goals. It was only 2 times in 10 games they allowed more than 2 goals. They were playing well defensively, but it was against kind of poor teams. So they finally played a great team in the Florida Panthers, and they didn't look too great. Second game, they bounced back big time. Do you believe that same philosophy?
Not really, because I wasn't as impressed with the 6-1 victory in the rematch as you guys were. 5-on-5, Florida actually had the better numbers in the game. Panthers are playing good hockey right now, and I don't know that Florida should be this much of a dog to anybody. If you're asking me who I think is going to win the game, well, I'd pick them. I would take Tampa. But, they're unbeaten at home. 5-1, 5-2, 4-3, 5-2, 5-1, 3-1. So they barely even had a close game at home. But those were also against teams not as good as the Panthers. They were against the Blackhawks, the Predators, the Red Wings. 3 teams that I think will probably all miss the playoffs. The Panthers are a playoff team. And I think Florida is going to look at this as their own revenge game. They just got blasted on their home ice, 6-1. It wasn't as lopsided as the score indicates based on the analytics, but still, they walked off the ice thinking, boy, we got our ass kicked in this game. On the flip side, they outplayed Tampa in the first game and got the 5-2 victory. I think this is going to be a heck of a battle. The Lightning, to me, they haven't turned it on yet. Okay, I know they've got a good record, but they still haven't been playing great hockey, not like the level they played in winning the Cup. I think they probably will at some point, but right now they're a little bit shorthanded. Obviously, the Kucherov injury has had an impact. Stamkos is out. I think Florida's going to give them a game. To me, the value here, I don't think they're going to win the game, so I'm not going to bet it, but I think the value at this price is on the Panthers.
I'm curious, Dave, when you talk about not think say that we're like over talking about this Tampa Bay team, like a lot of the advanced stats and expected goals point towards Tampa in that victory. Like they were supposed to win that game. What numbers are you speaking of?
Corsi, Fenwick.
Like carrying possession and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, the numbers...
Because like a lot of the dangerous scoring opportunities went towards Tampa. And Florida controlled the puck, but they didn't really have that much dangerous scoring opportunities.
It depends on what analytics you're looking at.
Right.
You know, I pay a lot of attention to the even strength analytics. Mm-hmm. And they indicate that Florida played a lot better than the 6-1 score would indicate. I think Florida's a pretty good team. And to me, if you're getting the Panthers in this price range, I'm not going to go against them. Not at this price. Again, I think if you're asking me who do I think is going to win the game, no price involved, Tampa. But I don't think it's bettable at this price.
I understand that completely.
No,
let's get into our next game here.
To that point, just before we go, is I think Florida is getting some respect in the fact that they are only plus 155 in this game, or Tampa's minus 170. Any other team coming to Tampa, given how the season's going for Tampa right now, and Tampa through 6 games have scored 27 at home, haven't lost a game as of yet. Any other team coming into Tampa is going to be Tampa's going to be minus 200 or more in that game against anybody else in that division, with the exception of maybe Carolina. Yeah,
definitely Carolina.
So any other team is coming in, and you're going to see Tampa, Dave, at minus 220, 240, 260, and such, right, which are, to your point, are as good as Tampa is, are unbettable numbers because you shouldn't be laying that much juice.
No, I don't agree with that either.
I
mean, if Tampa's playing a bad team,
as big favorites,
if Tampa's playing a bad team and they ought to be minus 300 and the line's 200, then they're not. Then it's not a bad bet.
No, Dave, I get that, but you're not going to catch me laying. I haven't done it all season. I'm not about to start now with any team laying minus 200 or more, unless I have some variation of a split line. But I get what you're saying is, if the true number is 3 and you're getting 2, then you've got to take the 2. I get that point of it.
Let's move on here, guys, to our line change game here. The Jets and the Oilers. It was a Sunday night last night. We were looking over things, and Carmine and I were talking earlier. Carmine was mentioning pretty much, hey, let's try and find something we can do here for a line change. And we thought this would be a good game to bring up anyway and to talk about the Jets and the Oilers. Now, guys, we talked about that division where it's Tampa Bay at the top, it's Florida, Carolina, but then it's kind of weaker at the bottom. This North Division, I understand Ottawa's near the bottom, guys. Vancouver isn't playing their best hockey, but I think all three of us can at least agree on this. There are competitive matchups, and I don't care if it's Toronto and Ottawa with 2 teams that are playing tonight. Anything can happen, and I won't really be too surprised. These 2 teams are playing minus 130 favorites here for the Oilers. Do you have a side you're liking here, Carmine?
I don't to go off on it. Like I'll say this much. Like, I wanted to talk about sort of the Oilers' commitment to playing defense, and They've won 6 of their last 7 games. I'm not really sure if it's a product of who they've been playing more than anything else. Playing an Ottawa team that isn't scoring a lot of goals, or a Montreal team that has struggled to score some goals of late. I'm not really sure if it's a product of that. Sometimes it's tough to tell if a team is playing better defensively over a 6 or 7 game win streak, or it's just the teams that they're playing. Koskinen's off the COVID list, and he's active, but he's not listed as the starter tonight. There's no listed starter. The weird thing is I'd rather actually see Mike Smith in net. He's 2-0. He's only allowed 1 goal, and again, it's you look at the wins came against. The Jets, if we're looking at over-unders, the Jets are 3-1 to the under right now on the road. Andrew, I want to throw this stat out for a lot of people because we've always discussed goals on this show. And this is how, unless you sort of delve into some of the North Division goals, there were a lot of high-scoring games to start this season. It has tailed off. How much has it tailed off? If we go back 2 weeks to not last Monday's show, but the previous Monday show, from Monday to Sunday, there was 11 games played in the North. The over went 5-4-2. From last Monday's show to yesterday, Sunday, there were 10 games played in the North. The under was 9-0-1. So you did not lose a game taking an under in any of the North games. Now that could be 8-0-2, depending on what you got the Toronto-Montreal line at. It was 6.5, but there was some 6s out there. The game landed 4-2 on a 6, but the 6.5s are what were out there for the longest time. So 9-0-1 to the under the last 10 games. So we're seeing lower scoring games, and that's just a regression of the scoring that I think we expected was going to happen in this division. So as far as this game goes, because I haven't really given you anything, I would lean to the under again.
And we have to ask ourselves, Carm, is that because of film? Is that because of recent games against that team? Is it because they're looking at the way they played against other teams? There's so many different intangibles we can take into those stats, right?
I want to hear from Dave on this one.
Well, I think
Dave?
Tippett is a defensive-minded coach. He always has been. And there were times last year when I looked at Edmonton and said, boy, they're just not buying into his system. And you could make the same comment early in this season because they weren't playing well at all. But they've picked it up lately, and they've done it by playing good defense. So as long as the team is buying into that philosophy and winning games, I guess I wouldn't argue against what Karma's saying. And, I would agree with the under based on that. We know the style the Oilers are going to, try and play tonight. Winnipeg really never plays that style because they're not capable of it defensively, but I think they can get sucked into it on the road. And I can see 3 goals winning this game. So yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think the under could be live here.
The issue I have is the last time these two teams met, the score was 6-4. It depends how much of a recency guy you are. That game wasn't just a couple days ago. That was a little while ago. But, what I'll say is this. I think the Oilers are finally buying into the concept of, hey, we don't have 4 lines that are probably going to score for us. We don't have a third liner that's going to puck one in on any given night. So we need to play those style of games where we're going to have our all-stars score for us, or we're going to have that break for us where McDavid goes end-to-end. But when that's not happening, we are going to protect our own end. And it's really, really helped them because they are not playing that end-to-end fast-paced hockey as much anymore. They are spending more quality time in the offensive zone, and they're upping their shot count. They're just firing everything on net. They're not just, skidding around with the puck. And that's kind of what I've been focusing on, guys. We talked a little bit about analytics, Dave, and stats on this show. It's kind of like for soccer. People have been saying in soccer, possession is kind of getting weeded out of the game. I mean, I have a good friend that plays professional soccer, and if you have 70% possession, you can still lose that game 2-0. It's about how you play. And I feel like this Oilers team right now is really taking into account just positioning, strong defensive games, and stuff like that. And with the Jets, I would say they're kind of in the same boat. They have probably the biggest core up the middle, very, very strong, built tall, physical team. They don't have to be involved in some of these higher scoring games, or they shouldn't be anyway, because they're so physical. If they get a lead, they should be able to protect it. I do like the under in this game as well, just like these guys. However, I do lean to the Oilers here. I think it's a pretty good price for them. And I like the way they're playing right now. I like the way they're playing, and it's not just because they beat my Habs, but I like the way they're playing defensively. And, of course, we do know they do have some offensive star power. So under and the Oilers for me, guys. Our next game up here is Carolina and Columbus. Well, we talked about this division earlier, guys. We've got the Hurricanes minus 170 favorites. This is our dump or chase segment. Dave, you know, at the start of the year, when we created this segment, I was picking way too heavy of favorites. You know, it was like a minus 340, and I was like, hey, Dave, dump or chase. And you're just like, well, you know, I'm not going to lay this price, but obviously I think they're going to win. So I know it's still minus 170, but with this segment we're doing now, it's kind of like a, would you ride the favorite and find a way to play them, or stay away?
No, I think the price is too high. And I do like this Carolina team a lot. But to me, that's too steep to be laying to the Blue Jackets, who actually managed to win a couple of really high-scoring games recently. And they've played twice already this year against Carolina. Both games were toss-ups. Carolina wins 6-5, and Columbus wins 3-2. Well, you know which way Columbus wants it to go. They would prefer it be low scoring. I think the Blue Jackets have struggled to some extent this season, as they often do, because Tortorella can get under players' skins. But eventually, he gets them going in the right direction. And I kind of think they're kind of starting to go back in the right direction now. They beat Carolina in the last meeting, which was about a week ago. Then they have a really good comeback win against the Blackhawks. They're down 4-2 in that game in the third period and come back and win it 6-5. It didn't even need overtime to do it. Lost in overtime in the most recent game, but they played a pretty good game. I just think they're in too good a form to be laying this number against. Now, that said, this Carolina team, I think Carolina's a really outstanding team. We'll see what happens with the goaltending. I mean, that's going to be something that's could be an issue, but they're just not losing many games. I mean, they got the one loss to Detroit, one loss to Chicago, one loss to Columbus. Those were all, from a scheduling dynamic standpoint, not great spots for them. So they've been tough. And this goes back to what Carmine said earlier in the show. This is the first game back home of a 6-game road trip for the Hurricanes. Maybe not a real positive situation. It might be if there were a bunch of fans in the stands going wild, because that's one of the best home ice advantages in the league when it's packed, but it's not packed right now. I think they're laying too much here in what is, to me, a relatively even game. It kind of falls into the category of what I was talking about with Tampa earlier, where I think Carolina probably wins the game, but I'm certainly not. To me, the value would be with the Blue Jackets at this price.
I'm right there with Dave. I'm going to dump this Carolina Hurricanes team today. I'm not a fan of this price right now, not a fan of this situation. I like this Blue Jackets team. And guys, we all talked about Patrik Laine, and the extra guy, Jack Roslovic, was the second guy that was sent over to play for the Columbus Blue Jackets, his hometown here in Columbus. He's played well. He's actually scored a goal in the majority of his games. He is now the top line center with Patrik Laine to his left. Dave talks about people buying into John Tortorella's, way of thinking. I feel like this team really, really is, and Roslovic is fitting in perfectly with them. Now, guys, Laine drops the gloves in the same game that he scores a goal, and first thing people want to talk about is, oh, well, he lost the fight, he got rocked. I think he hung around, but I'm not going to talk about the fight. I'm talking about this from a handicapping perspective. Dave, you talked about Tortorella. I think there's nothing more that he will love than seeing this guy go out there, score a really nice goal, and then stick up for himself, drop the gloves. That's what fighting is all about. I don't care that he got rocked with one punch. That, to me, is respectable. It's why I bring it up. I feel like, just like Dave, this team is headed in the right direction. Don't like this price, Carm, and I think it's a good spot here for the Jackets.
By the way, I just want to throw something in real quick. Steven Stamkos has been upgraded to probable tonight for Tampa Bay. Good information.
Yep. The one other thing, since Dave is on that Tampa game, because I was going to segue into that real quickly, is listen, goalies are goalies, right? But I'd rather see Vasilevsky in there, but the confirmed starter is now Curtis McElhinney for Tampa Bay tonight. So I'd rather see Stamkos in there if I'm laying, or sorry, not Stamkos. Sorry, I'd rather see Vasilevsky in there if you're laying that much wood in the game. As far as this, listen. I love Torts as a coach. He goes by the beat of his own drum. It's the way it is. That game, I think I talked about it last week. That game with Liney in the lineup was being broadcast live in Finland, and you know that literally the whole country is watching. And what did he do? He benched him for a period and a half and kept Liney on the bench. So it's his way or the highway. It's the way it's always been. I'm going to make a case for the under here, even though the market has gone in the other direction a bit as far as juice on the over. Obviously, these are two teams that have gotten into their fair share of scoring. The Canes are 6-1 to the over their last 7, but five of those overs came on this 6-game road trip. They've only played 3 at home. 2 of those 3 have gone under the total. You look at the Jackets, 4 of their last 6 have gone over the total, but on the road they're 6-2 to the under, and it's because of the Torts wave sometimes of how he sets up his team to play on the road. So I'm going to lean on the under here, 5.5. Again, it could be a bad spot for the Canes at home in their first off a road trip, and it could be one of those grind them out 2-1, 3-2 type wins, which keeps this under the total.
Carm, you didn't answer, man. Dump or chase?
I am going to dump it into the corner for an under.
Okay, I like it. And also, James Reimer, he's been pretty active. Of course, Peter Mrazek is still injured, so Reimer is definitely getting quite a bit of a workload. He's looked pretty good for them, though, but curious to see. Yeah, curious to see if that fades out, but for now, good for him. He's definitely stepped up in the moment. Let's go into our barn burner game from a total perspective, and of course, we can touch on the side as well. The Leafs are pretty big favorites in this game. The total is 6.5. Carmine laid us out with these stats about the under in the North Division. The Leafs, I gotta say, everybody, I know I'm holding my breath to say this. I hate to even say anything good about the Leafs. They're playing pretty good defensively. They're playing better defensive hockey. I would get called biased if I didn't say that. That game against Montreal, the revenge game, the season series is 2-1. But as a Montreal fan, they squeeze out that 2-1 victory. But the Leafs are playing better defensive hockey. I'm not sure if it's just throughout their whole lineup, if it's just the forwards back checking, if it's better defensemen, what it really is. But I got to give credit when credit is due. The Leafs are playing better defensive hockey. The Senators, they're just so up and down. When I look at this game, I remember the very first game that the Ottawa Senators played. They opened their season up against the Leafs. What happened? They won. They looked amazing. They're moving the puck around like it was, attached to their sticks. It was unbelievable. It was just tape-to-tape passes. In this game in particular, Carm, I am picking up the ball of your stats and just throwing it out the window. I believe we will see some goals in this game. What about you?
My thoughts and prayers go to your money in this game, Andrew, because I'm going under the total here. Listen, we know Ottawa's. We've talked about Ottawa's a bad team. Now, they're as far as bad, they're the worst team in the division. But it doesn't mean they can't be competitive. When they play Toronto, it's much like the Toronto-Montreal. It's a rivalry. Ottawa hates Toronto. Toronto hates Ottawa. It's just whether it's the fans or whether it's the players, who knows. Ottawa played 2 of their better games against Toronto to start the season, and they split those games in Ottawa. Look at the under in the Ottawa games. They after that 6 or 7 game spurt where they were just getting outscored repeatedly. The under in Ottawa's last 7 games, 6 wins, 1 push to the under. Their last 7 games have gone under the total. They're playing a little bit better defensively. Sometimes you sacrifice some offense to play better defensively. It happens in every sport when you make a commitment to playing better defensively. I don't want to touch the side in this game because you can't even take the puck line because I will never lay juice on a puck line. I've said that before. You've got to lay like 130 or 140 on the Leafs to win by 2 goals in this game. So I wouldn't touch it. This total for me is where my money is going to go, and it's going to be on the under in this game. It's 6.5 right now, and I'm going to go under 6.5.
Dave, have you seen that website on Twitter that people are posting a lot about? It's called moneypuck.com. They give the deserve to win meter. Have you seen that at all? It's like advanced metrics and advanced stats. It's a very cool graph. I'll post it on Twitter sometime, but pretty much in that game against Montreal for Toronto, the deserve to win O-meter, as they call it, was 60-40 in favor of the Leafs, right? They had some wide open nets missed. Carey Price made some unbelievable saves. I think it's easy to say that the Leafs could have scored a few goals, man, and they had a couple themselves, but I'm trying really hard not to be unbiased, But do you think that after that game that was so low scoring with lots of chances, there's a chance for an explosion, or do you agree with Carmine it's going to stay under?
I would look at the under from this standpoint. Ottawa's not scoring at all. They've scored 2 or less goals in 5 straight games. They've scored more than 3 goals twice all season. So they don't score. And one of those games was the opening night game against the Maple Leafs, which kind of throw that out. So where's Ottawa's goals going to come from? They're probably going to get 1 or 2 here. So Toronto would have to take it over by themselves. And actually, for whatever reason, the Senators have actually been getting good goaltending lately. This was thought to be a really bad area for Ottawa, and it probably still is. But right now, Murray and Hoberg have been playing well recently. So, hot goalies and a team that can't score, that kind of adds up to a likely low-scoring game. I don't think you get 6 goals in this game.
What was that you said, Dave? You said, go ahead, Carm.
No, and to Dave's point, listen, and this is where I got it wrong. Our producer is probably going to turn off my mic because I told him on Saturday, just before our Sierra show, that Hoberg was starting in net for Ottawa, and I just thought that he'd played so bad in allowing 5 goals in three straight games, and then 4 in another before, and then got pulled in another one that he just was playing absolutely terrible, and he stood on his head and kept Ottawa in that game, and then they won that game 2-1 against Winnipeg. So I was completely wrong on that one, but you get it. When your worst goalie, hypothetically, your worst goalie or your backup goalie plays a game like that, it tells you you're playing a better defensive game, and he could very well start again tonight. Although I think it's going to be Matt Murray.
I would think so, yeah.
Well, Dave mentioned it. He segued me into it. I'm going to get into my power play and start it off first for us. Dave said it's going to be the Leafs doing the scoring. The Ottawa Senators won't get too many. That's why he liked the under. Well, that's why I'm going with the team total over for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm taking this Ottawa Senators team completely out of the equation. My power play is going to be the Maple Leafs team total over 3.5 here against this Ottawa Senators team on this Monday night slate here. I believe we will see some Maple Leaf goals after that, explosion of offense they had that they just couldn't find the back of the net against Montreal. And I get it. Ottawa hasn't been scoring. So why tie them into this total? Why not just rely on one team? That's exactly what I'm doing. My power play is going to be the team total over 3.5 for the Maple Leafs. As far as action for me up at WagerTalk.com, I will have just one play posted, 4% play in the NHL for this evening. The rest of my plays will be 2% plays for all access subscribers. What about yourself, Dave? What's going on for tonight?
Just one play up as of now. It's on the Sharks-Ducks game, or Ducks-Sharks, because San Jose is the home team. And you can get that for $9. Best bet of the show, I'm going to go with Dallas. They really need a win. They've lost 5 in a row, and 4 of those at home, which is alarming. They need this game. Well, they've got the right opponent coming in, the Predators, a team they played very well against to start the season. They blew them out 7-0 in the very first game, and then won 3-2 in a game which they pretty well dominated. And Nashville's not playing good hockey either coming in. I think this is a get healthy spot for the Dallas Stars. I like them to get the win tonight at home against the Predators.
Awesome stuff there from Mr. Dave Cokin. You guys know where to find him over at WagerTalk.com. Carm, you mentioned it. It's a big week, man. I'm excited to bet on some soccer, to watch some soccer. I know you're going to be on Wager Talk today as well, so let us know what you have up as far as soccer action and, of course, in the NHL.
Yeah, a couple games for today in soccer up at Wager Talk on $9 Mondays. I will have a hockey card that'll go up after the show. And I've already preloaded some. They're not up for sale yet, but I have some big plays up in Champions League and Europa League that are on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, including a 5% play. So you'll find those up on the site later today once I create the package. As far as a best bet, it's funny. My niece, my 6-year-old niece, was over on the weekend, and she'll play some of these songs on her tablet, and it's the worst because they get in my head and I can't forget. And these tunes get stuck. And one of them is that Baby Shark one. And with that, I'm not going to sing the Baby Shark tune, but the Sharks are my best bet on this show. We'll look to make it 16-3 with the Baby Sharks today at -115, Andrew.
Good stuff there, Carm. Big family man. I know that you are. Thanks a lot to Dave for joining us here today. Carmine, my partner in crime. We'll see you guys tomorrow, our regular time, 4 o'clock time. You can find the power plays listed on your screen. My power play is the Maple Leafs on their team total over 3.5. Carmine with the Sharks. Dave with the Stars. For Dave, for Carm, for all of our producers right here at WagerTalk.com, have a great day. Enjoy your games, and we'll see you tomorrow for Puck Time.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.